wants to throw down. He's going to go deep. And I mean deep. And I mean touchdown,
Florida! So right now it's a cool 94 degrees here in Florida, but it's about to start getting hot, and with that, hydration is important. We've all heard of the story of Gatorade. Gatorade started with the University of Florida and a Dr. Cade. And Dr. Cade, he was a doctor that studied the kidneys, and he was concerned about the massive loss of fluid that the football players, were experiencing in the Florida heat while training and playing football. And so the university tasked him with creating an electrolyte drink for rehydration, but he was worried about the kidneys. Now, as the story goes, the drink that he made was absolutely horrible because it really didn't have any type of flavor. It didn't mix well. Nothing was good about it. And it is alleged that his wife decided to add a few things, namely lemon flavoring and sugar, and that is what made the drink somewhat palatable, and then Gatorade was formed. Now, a lot of time has transpired. Gatorade now is a very acidic, sugary drink that is miles away from what Dr. Cade ever developed. And there's tons of videos out there where you can watch people recreating the drink that Dr. Cade made. And I could do that, but I decided, why don't we take today's knowledge, kind of build on what Dr. Cade was trying to achieve, and create a sports drink of our own. Now, this is a lot of ingredients. A lot of it Dr. Cade did not use, and some of it's going to have different applications. I tried to keep it where the average person could make this drink. Of course, you got fine sea salt, so we'll be doing that. If you don't have fine sea salt, you could always crush it, but since we're not doing that, I'm not going to be crushing it. Have cornstarch. That's very important because we have acid and baking soda that we're going to have to do something with. And so I got these two types of acid plus this right here and baking soda. I'll explain that in a minute. And this protects that. Then you got sugar. The reason for the salt and sugar, there is a pump action that we now understand better, where in your gut you need salt and sugar in order to absorb fluids and nutrients. And back during that time, it wasn't that well known. So now we know this. This is the reason why a lot of the sugar-free sports drinks do not do as well as the sugared sports drinks. And so we will be using sugar and salt. Dr. Cade, with the cream of tartar, he was worried about the kidneys. And cream of tartar was meant to protect the kidneys. I am going to be using baking soda in this process to convert the cream of tartar into a thing called Rochelle salt. And so Rochelle salt is a different version of cream of tartar. It does a lot of the same things, but it is more dissolvable in water. Cream of tartar by itself doesn't like to dissolve in water that well. Now, there is another ingredient here, magnesium malate. This is a very expensive ingredient. You will see it a lot of times in these YouTube channels that they're trying to recreate the recipe for the Element drink. It's LMNT, Element. And I haven't done it on this channel. I did the video footage and I've stopped. I didn't put it out yet because I wasn't happy with it. And I'd rather have a sports drink that I'd actually use. But the magnesium malate is a very good form of magnesium, better than a lot of the cheaper forms. It doesn't have any of the negative side effects that you see. And so I'll be using that. Problem is, it's going to be bringing malic acid. If you decide to make this and you decide not to use the magnesium malate, you'll have to lower down your baking soda by a half teaspoon, okay? So just remember, if you take this out, lower the recipe by a half teaspoon. Other than that, this is very simple. The potassium chloride, I do want to mention that I am using this brand here. Potassium chloride is considered a salt substitute here in the United States. Different companies make different salt substitutes. None of them are equal. This is not my favorite. There's one that's called New Salt, N-U-S-A-L-T. New Salt has the least amount of anti-caking agents and all that. The worst is No Salt. And No Salt has a ton of added ingredients that just doesn't need to be there. The New Salt, or not New Salt, but this salt substitute by Unpretentious Baker. I just love it. It does have magnesium oxide as a flow agent. I'm not really happy about the magnesium oxide, but it's not a big enough amount to worry about. So for that reason, I'm not going to be too concerned. The lemon is here for flavor and also the citric acid. The citric acid with the baking soda and the cream tartar will help in that Rochelle salt formulation. So let's get started with this. To start things off, we're going to do 8 tablespoons of sugar. And that comes out to be 135 grams. We'll tear that out. There we go. Alright, I thought I was filming, and I thought I turned the thing on, and it turned off automatically. I thought it was still on, but what I'm doing now is this True Lemon. It comes in small packages. 8 is roughly a half tablespoon, so what I'm doing is I'm going to do 40 grams of this crystallized lemon. And so I'm just going to do a whole box, which is 50 packets. All right, so we'll get done with that in just a second. Now, if you're worried about the sugar, also remember that there is actually a chemical in lemon juice that helps lower the glucose in the body. So this will actually regulate the blood sugar as well. So if you're a diabetic like me, this kind of makes this drink a little safer for us. Now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of fine sea salt. That right there came out about 7.2 grams. So I might as well say 7 because one of them was kind of heaping just a little bit. So let's say 7 grams there. Now let's go on to the next one, and that will be baking soda. All right, 2 teaspoons of baking soda is roughly 6 grams. Now we're doing 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. So 2 teaspoons cream of tartar is roughly about 6 grams. I think I forgot to tear out my calculator, but I've got 2 teaspoons of potassium chloride. I'm going to double check to make sure, or 1 teaspoon of potassium chloride. I want to see exactly. I think that's going to be 3 grams, but I think I forgot to tear this out, so I'm going to double check it. Okay, so yes, I did tear that out, and roughly 1 teaspoon is 3 grams. So we will make sure to put the directions or the recipe correct that. Now we'll continue on. Tear that out. Now for the magnesium malate, 2 teaspoons of it. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of magnesium malate is 4 grams roughly. Tear that out. There we go. So now, with that said, we'll cover this up. That was 3.5 grams, I believe, of the cornstarch, or 2 teaspoons. We'll shake this up really well. That's where a jarred container or something like that would work. This right here is a plastic lidded container. It will work just fine. Just label it so people don't mess up and get something that they don't, to think it's something that it's not. Now, for packaging out in the field, what I'd recommend is get some coin pockets or coin envelopes. You can get these very easily. These right here are 2.5 by 3.5. I think I got them off of Amazon, but you can just put them up, fold them over, and then put them in some Ziploc bag or something like that so it's nice and dry. And then you can tear it open and make like a little funnel. Now this is a 20-ounce bottle of water. I poured out some of the water to make it a little easier. There will be an automatic fizzing action. Nothing can be done there because you're starting a Rochelle salt process. But you take that, this up very good. I'm not doing this to be fizzy. I'm not wanting a fizzy drink. I'm trying to get this to go through the Rochelle salt process. What I would recommend you do, mix this up ahead of time and fill your bottles so that when you're out in the field, they're already ready to go, and then just have some for backup. And one thing you might notice is after a while there may be sediment at the bottom. That is probably going to be the magnesium malate. Just shake it up. Magnesium is meant to help the muscle recovery. That's the reason why we're adding this in. So now let's first start by smell. Smells very much like a fresh lemonade. That's because the real lemon is supposed to represent basically a lemon wedge per packet. So we put basically the equivalent of 50 lemon wedges in this drink. But it has a pleasant smell. It is not totally lemony because the malic acid from the magnesium malate gives a berry flavor. So you got kind of like almost like an apple, lemon, berry type of deal. I'm not displeased, but it's kind of like along the line of a fruit punch, a little tart. That's something you're going to get with this. Not overly sweet. That's what you need. And lemon will provide just enough to create that Rochelle salt reaction going on so that the cream of tartar is protecting kidneys in case you're sweating out a lot. Very reminiscent of Gatorade. It really does have a Gatorade flavor to it. I like this. I really do. It's not my favorite flavor in the world because I don't really like lemon. If you like lemon, you probably like this more. It's not overly sweet. Gatorade can be overly sweet. I actually water down my Gatorade because it's too sweet. But it's very similar to when I water down a Gatorade. You're hot, you're sweating out, whatever. This right here will rehydrate you. And ironically, I now got to go change because I've got to mow the lawn. Guess what I have a container of. So this will keep for months in dry storage. Like I said, mix it up ahead of time in bottles. Just shake it up because sometimes you'll get a little bit of settlement. Magnesium malate does not like to mix very well. Also, you want to give plenty enough time for the Rochelle salt process to fully take place. So I'd say the day before event, if you can, mix this up. Again, I didn't mean for this to be fizzy. I don't want it to be fizzy. So the reaction of the baking soda and the acid, that is for a process all its own, not to be fizzy. And I would say let it sit overnight in bottles, chilled. That will make sure that everything takes place. You can drink it right away like I am. It's not going to hurt anything, but you get the full benefits a day afterwards letting this sit. But all in all, I know most of y'all probably will not make this, but if you do, I think you'll come out with something far better than what you can get out of the grocery stores or gas stations, wherever you get your sports drinks. It's definitely better than anything on the market, and it's fairly affordable. So I would say give it a try. And with that, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hype this video. All that really does help out. And with that, I'll see y'all guys again next time. Bye.